Hey there, in the next little while, we're going to have a whole lot of fun casting out some information that I know you're going to find mighty interesting, and some things about fishing you may not be aware of, like this one right here. Do you believe fish can use the surface of the water to help them catch prey and escape danger? Absolutely. In fact, I've witnessed this a couple of times and was absolutely amazed at what I saw. With a little research, I found out it's called the mirror effect, and fish use it on a regular basis, provided the water's clear and calm. Here's how it works. When the surface of a lake is glassy calm, its underside is a partial mirror. A fish looking up into this mirror can not only see what's in the water above, but also anything moving about below. When the water is shallow, as well as calm and clear, fish can see a good bit of the bottom and thereby detect anything moving or lurking on the opposite side of cover, like a stump, log, boulder, or whatever that cannot be seen directly. But that's big chunky fish. Easy now. Ooh. That's a pretty fish right there on that little bitty bait. Do you see how light he hit it? Okay. See ya. I started to kiss that bass, but I just remembered our next question. Bill, is it unhealthy to kiss a fish? You know, that's a really good question, because yes, kissing your catch can be unhealthy, and I've been guilty of it myself. Kissing your catch can cause a serious diarrhea type infection. It's caused by a microscopic parasite called Giardia. That can be common on fish. You know, come to think of it, I'll bet that's probably what's wrong with my good friend Jimmy Houston, because he seems to kiss every bass he catches. I'll bet you that's how old Jimmy caught that that diarrhea of a mouth he has. For sure, you don't want any part of this. So, do not kiss your fish. Are you listening to this, Jimmy? There he is. Ooh, boy. A nice fish right there, brother. Nice one. Easy with him. Oh, I mean a good fish too. Whoa, boy, look at that one. He ain't as big as I thought he was, but he's a good one. He just looked big down there in that water. He's a nice fish though on this light tackle. Yes, she was. Now, what did I do with my pliers? Oh, I see them. Okay. You just like to scratch up my thumb. You just like to scratch up my thumb. Topwater baits have been around for a mighty long time, but they still catch plenty of fish. The key to this bait success is that the angler can create a lot of disturbance on the surface without moving the bait very far. The prop on the end of the head torpedo spins and throws water while creating a back tension so it doesn't glide away from the splash. Plus, this bait produces a totally different sound than a chugger or a popper. Okay, here's one a fisherman asked. Would you say the three most important things in attracting a big bass are action, sound, and smell? Well, first of all, smell and sound are important in some situations, but not nearly as important as sight. A bass may hear and smell an offer, but he needs to see it to eat it, and action is the key. When fishing for really big bass, it's smart to curtail all noises that are abnormal to fish. Surprisingly, this includes many of those lures that shake, rattle, and roll.
Sure, giant-sized bass will strike a noisy lure intentionally, simply because of its protective instinct. However, I honestly believe lures that make no noise and can be worked slowly, like plastic worms, tubes, lizards, grubs, crawfish, jigs with plastic attractors, and creature baits, are much more effective on huge bass.
Lures that create no negative cues like the ones mentioned have less chance of rejection because bass rely on what the eyes tell it, not what the eyes and the ears relate. When I think back of the really big bass that I've been fortunate enough to catch, most have been caught on quiet, slow-moving baits.
Bottom line is, you only have to fool their eyes. Remember, to catch a bass of a lifetime, use repeated casts and slow retrieves with lures that look and act very natural.
Yeah! Boom! Another one just had to eat it completely up. You little skinny thing. I wish it was really a live bait where you could, I'd just give it to you, but you're that hungry. There we go. There he is. Watch him hit it. Watch this. Look at him. He's under it. Watch him go hit it right here. There it was. Boom. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. Here he comes. Ooh. I saw him up under it. He swirled it. Couldn't stand it, could you there, Buster? Pretty little thing. Pretty little thing. I'm real proud of myself today. I'm keeping up with my pliers. Normally I can't do that. All right, now let's go quick. I got him. You just had to have that little thing, didn't you? I'm not gonna kiss you. Here's another good one about the size of guides on a fishing rod.
I'm seeing lots of better quality rods on the market with very small guides. What's the purpose of making guides so small?
Certainly micro guides are very popular right now. I'd say the main advantage of a set of micro guides is that they're about 80% lighter than the standard set of guides and can dramatically reduce the overall weight of the rod. Plus, the rod is going to feel more balanced because most of the weight is reduced from the tip section of the rod. Now, I can't really say if it casts further, but I do believe you'll pick up a bit of accuracy because the line is being controlled more precisely through the smaller guides. They aren't for everyone though. If you fish in a lot of colder weather, micro guides will drive you crazy because they ice up easier. And if you're using rigs with leaders, the knot connections, well, what they do, they won't go through the guides too easily, these little smaller guides. But they do have pluses and they do have disadvantages. But I like them. I really like them. You know, I meet quite a few fishermen every year, and I answer lots of questions, but I also ask lots of questions. Like, for instance, if you could use only one rod length in action for all your bass fishing, what would it be? First, the length, 6 foot, 6'10", or 7 foot. Well, about 15% said 6 foot, 60% said 6'10", and 25% said 7 foot. Now for action, about 35% selected medium, 45% preferred medium heavy, and 20% said heavy. Now I'm also asked this question about soft plastic hooks. If you had to choose one style of hook for all your soft plastics, which one would you go with? Here's how it came out. Offset shank, 18%. Straight shank, 2%. Wide gap, 30%. Extra wide gap, 50%. Here he is, right behind it. There, he's got it. Ooh. Pretty fish. I'm not going to swing you up. I'll just lift you up. Turn around. That's a pretty fat fish right there. Yeah, we were talking about all these percentages a few minutes ago. Here's another one I'd like to share with you. What's the most popular, narrow spool or wide spool bait casting reels, and why? Now, the good folks at Quantum tell me that narrow spool sales outnumber wider spool sales by 65% to 35%. The reason for it is most folks want compact size and lowest possible weight. But here's something to think about. Larger spool reels have a bigger spool diameter. Therefore, this gives you better casting performance, higher retrieve speeds, and a larger drag system. So depending on your fishing technique, each has its place. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Something I forgot to mention. What about gear ratios? What's the most popular gear ratio for bait casting reels? Well, here's how percentage-wise Quantum sales tell the story. 5.3 to 1, 10%. 6.6 to 1, 40%. 7.3 to 1, 50%. So think about this. Speed is not always the answer in lure presentation. You can fish crankbaits more effectively with a slower retrieve speed. Likewise, topwater, swim baits, and jerk baits perform best with higher speeds. Therefore, you should consider having more than just one gear ratio reel. As an added tip, the wider spools take in over 30 inches of line per revolution of the handle, where the 100 series, like I'm using today, the narrow spool, takes in about 27 inches per revolution. Now, the wider spool is better rated for, say, heavier monos, fluorocarbons, and braided line, as well as larger baits, like what we're fishing with today. But you can get by fishing these larger baits with a narrow spool. Easy does it. Open your mouth. Here's a question about outboard motors. Hey, I understand using a tiller on a small horsepower outboard, but why do some folks use them on mid-size 40s to 115 horse outboards? Why don't they just get a boat with a steering wheel? Well, that's a pretty good question. Fishermen who use tiller handles usually do it for three reasons. Maneuverability. A tiller arm allows a boat to be quickly turned and precisely handled, which many fishermen prefer. Second, boat design. Not having a traditional helm opens up the design options and fishability of a boat. Third, quick control. As a fisherman knows, especially a trolling fisherman, bait presentation is key. Controlling that speed by using a tiller handle, especially in a back trolling situation, can be key to landing that special fish. Oh, that's a good one. Good fish. Ooh-wee. Whoa. Isn't that a pretty one? Look at all that color and that gold and green. Woo. Okay, buddy, time to go home.